Hello, is this thing on? Oh my goodness. I'm fun now. We made it. We're here. I'm your host, Sazan Hendrix, and whoa, I've just got to say, this moment right now, y'all, I just got to take a victory lap because we made it. We are going to spend this next hour together, and I want to just invite you in. I also want to take you guys into a little story this morning, a real-time story with Sazan. If you're enjoying some stories lately that I've been sharing, this is a real one for you. So I was really excited about today, getting to finally step back into the podcast chair. It's been about 3 years since I sat behind a microphone like this, getting to host my own show. And to be honest with you, I'll get into that here in a second, but I didn't know whether or not it was ever going to happen again, truthfully. Especially in that season when I felt like the grace had been lifted. I was like, okay, that's it. It's time to, hang my hat with the whole podcasting thing. But this morning when I was getting ready to just get dressed and I was just kind of like, okay, how do I want to step into today? Because I've had days where I'm, it's an exciting thing, whether I'm launching something or there's a big event happening, thinking about my wedding day comes to mind, thinking about when Steve and I have launched certain products and things in the past, and I've just poured my heart into certain passion projects. Those days when I wake up, I've noticed in the past how I've been a little bit more like, a little bit more scurry and like a little panicky, and I've just been a little bit anxious. And I knew that a lot of the anxiousness came from a place of excitement, but I also knew that stepping into this next chapter of my life, which I'm fun now, is really the anchor into this whole new world. I was about to sing it. A whole new world. Ooh, a little rusty, but I knew I needed to step into today a little bit differently than I usually would in the past. So it's funny, I got up and I said, you know what, instead of doing what I feel like is muscle memory, wanting to immediately check my show notes, make sure my clothes are ironed, I'm all ready to go, I said, what if I just decided this morning when the kids go to school and the house is quiet and I have a couple hours before I have to enter into the seat, I thought, let me just go sit with the Lord. Let me go sit with God. Where's my Bible? So I was like, okay, let me go find my Bible. I mean, it's been a crazy week, so I haven't had my quiet time. So I was like going to the place where I always leave my Bible. And it wasn't there. And I thought to myself, excuse me, what? Where, Steve, that's usually my MO. Steve, what'd you do with my Bible? And he's just like, what are you talking about? I have no idea where your Bible is. So then I'm asking, I'm literally talking to myself, and I'm just like, Saz, where could it be? I'm so particular about my systems and where I put things that I knew for a fact, I was like, no, somebody stole my Bible. And I was just like, and then all of a sudden, as I'm looking everywhere downstairs, I started to feel a little bit of resistance. I started to feel the smoke, the adversity. I started to feel the whole, what if this is a sign that I'm not supposed to do this today? Like after having a year of delay, and what I feel like this sort of podcast kind of was planted in my heart after we left the good life. It was a year after that when I started to just reimagine maybe what if, but I was supposed to do this a year ago. So you can just imagine how the jitters start to creep, the doubts start to creep. Well, what if it isn't time? What if this is actually not the day to do this, And that started playing in my head, and I immediately knew just the spiritual warfare that can come with anything and everything. At any given moment where we give the enemy a foothold, he's coming. So I felt that this morning at the start of the day when I was about to step into this space, I was like, where is my Bible? And I remember I just stopped, took a deep breath, and I said, Lord, please show me where my Bible is. Can you just tell me where it is? As if really in that moment, I believed it because I was like, I've looked everywhere. And I just knew I needed my Bible, especially for today's episode. I wanted to bring it with me into this space. I wanted to bring it into this chair with me. I wanted to bring it into the conversation and refer to some scripture that I've been diving into. And I just thought, I'm not going until I have my Bible. So I go upstairs, and as I'm walking up the stairs, I felt like the Lord told me there's only two places it could be. And I was like, either it's in the girls' room or in the toy room, the playroom. And so I go into the girls' room and I realized, oh my goodness, they just threw all of their clothes all over the place. So there goes my ADHD. I start just kind of like quickly tidying up their room. That kind of helped me come back into a place of like calming myself down, like, okay. And then I knew the last place that I really needed to check was the toy room, guys. And sure enough, as I'm walking into the playroom where my kids spend so much time, I realized last week I went up there with my laptop and my Bible because I needed to get work done, but I also needed to make sure that Oliver was just having the freedom to run around and play. So I went up there and tucked away. And sure enough, there's my Bible. And you want to know where it was? It was resting on the little day bed. We have these two cute little built-in day beds in the playroom. It's right there resting by the pillows on this cute little blanket that's the girls' blanket. And I felt like that was the Lord in that moment. There he was, meeting me in the playground, meeting me in what I believe is the most joy-filled space in our home. It has become the sweet escape place where my kids are kids. And when I created I'm Fun Now, and when this started to come to light, I realized that I wanted to create a space that felt like a playground for the soul. And so it felt like a wink this morning from God, a really sweet, funny, ironic wink. And he was looking, it was like as if that Bible was so at peace, resting in this environment, that it reminded me like, Saz, you've got everything that you need. Take nothing with you, as we see it in Luke. I was just reading that in Luke. It says, Jesus is preparing his disciples for going out into the nations and being a light, being like him. And he tells them as they conquer and divide, he says, take nothing with you. You have everything you need. Trust in God alone. And that was exactly what I needed to hear this morning, because I could start to feel the jitters, which is normal, but more of like the anxiousness, the perfectionist in me that worries about how I'm going to show up when I hit record in these places and spaces. And just immediately God met me right there this morning. And it's like he's told me, it's like, daughter, I want you to have fun. Go into the playground and know that I'm with you, and to just be completely at rest. And so here we are now in this playground, and this morning, that just gave me exactly what I needed. Before I put my makeup on, before I put my clothes on, before I did anything, that right there spoke to me so much, and it is exactly what I needed to hear, because God reminded me that we're doing things differently now. And that is what he has been doing in my life in this last year. And we are going to be just diving in this next hour together about all of that. And I hope that you guys are going to be able to hang around and stick with me through this episode. I know some of you guys may have to hit pause and go do your thing, which is fine. And let's do this. Let's do this. Got my Bible. So I did find my Bible, and I do have it here with me, and I will most likely keep it in this space because I am going to invite God into this beautiful, sacred sisterhood space that he has just given me so much heart and joy and inspiration to bring to life. And so this is my invitation to him, that while, yes, he's given me the freedom to walk in this joy that is right now with all of you in the various seasons of life that we're in, I am just so excited that God is in this with us. Like, I am inviting him in. So that is my not only my symbol of hope, having the Bible with us in this space, but as a reminder to me and a declaration that this is so much more than what a podcast. This is holy ground, I feel. And so I'm a little excited. I'm a lot nervous because I know the calling is bigger than me. And I knew that coming into this next chapter. And so what is I'm fun now. I've been using this term. I feel like it's kind of become this like holy mantra for me this year. It is actually, funny enough, this whole I'm fun now name and title came about when I was in high school. Once upon a time ago, one of my OG best friends, Sophia, will tell you that it is something that we would always say in high school, whether it was like, yeah, girl, let's go to Taco Bell. I'm fun now. It feels like in that season of my life when adulthood hasn't quite reached you yet, there's still this sense of like your youth. Your youth hasn't been fully stripped yet. There was just a joy that I did have in that season of my life, a carefreeness that in a way I feel like I had forgotten or lost or tucked away. And I decided to just go through my 20s and really keep my head in the game and roll up my sleeves and focus on building and building brick by brick, chasing my dreams, going after all of that stuff that we in our 20s after graduating college, you feel like you've got to just go run into it as if tomorrow Jesus is coming back and we better hurry up, girl. I mean, that was me in my 20s. There was no experience of like what 20s and having sisterhood and sorority and like the college experience. And that was definitely not my life. That was not my path. And so I've really had to take the last 7 years of my life and really like, get real with my goals, my priorities. And I've had to just do a lot of surrendering. And the more that I've surrendered, the more that I've gone back to that girl, the girl that is fun now, and I've had to rediscover what that even means now because I'm not 17 or 18 anymore. I'm not the little girl, the 8-year-old. But what I do know is that little girl inside of each and every single one of us, she is still there and we've got to go back for her. And when I went and did a lot of that deep inner healing of like, okay, who am I and what am I doing with my life? I noticed that God used joy through the lens of joy, showing me, taking me back to flashbacks, memories of my childhood where joy was there. The innocence and the purity was there. And so I'm fun now. It really is more than a podcast name. It is a holy rebellion. It is a mantra daily that we can step into. And it's about reclaiming joy. It's about rediscovering joy. It's about maybe understanding what that even means because you've never tasted joy, this joy that people talk about. Whatever it is, I'm like, we're going on that journey together. So let's buckle up, okay? We're going to buckle up and we're not going to shy away and hold back. We are going to be the women and the daughters that God has called us to be. And I'm just so, so excited. Okay, so I want to just take a little time out here to say that where's everybody listening from? I want to know what parts of the world, and also, were any of you guys a little surprised this morning when you got like maybe a notification that from me, from your Apple podcast or Spotify, when you saw that there's a new episode? Because this feed that I'm Fun Now is on is actually the recycled feed of The Good Life, which is really, I think, amazing because The Good Life had so many amazing years in it. And that foundation of what we built, what God did in it and through it all those years, it is so amazing to see that now that is the very same foundation that we are birthing this sisterhood podcast world. I'm going to actually have Stevie coming on this show. Y'all know that. Like, I can't keep him away. I love him so much, and I really enjoyed him getting to co-host together. On that final episode of The Good Life, I remember Steve and I looked at each other, and we knew that there was a pretty good chance that we weren't going to step back into the podcasting space. But it's amazing how God had other plans, but also how much I did miss it. I spent an entire year as a creative, somebody who just loves connecting and creating, and you need outlets to be able to do that. I was just like, this whole short form content stuff, like Instagram, like it just did not feel like it was completely quenching my thirst for wanting connectivity with my community. And I miss that because in the podcast space, you get to go deeper. You get to do long form content. You just kind of get to chill out a little bit, and like your posture just kind of gets a little bit more relaxed. It's not overly edited or overly produced. And I missed that authenticity with my community. And so here we are in 2023, guys, and Steve and I are just like, yep, this might be it. We may never do another podcast together again. And I remember that last episode, and I was so emotional. And I want to play a clip. Let's play a clip.
Just spent time last night, reading some of the reviews and some of the emails and the things where people halfway across the world, their lives have changed because of what God has done through this show.
It's so crazy because obviously it's 2025 now. So much has happened between that moment, that tear-filled moment, to now, today. I mean, we had another baby, my little Oliver. We uprooted our lives and left Texas and moved to Tennessee. We decided to turn the lights out on various things that we knew we needed to part from, both professionally and personally. And God just did a clean sweep, it felt, from that time to now. And more than anything, what the Lord has been doing in my life, what He has been doing to prepare me for a time such as this, is He has really just like opened the eyes of my heart. I feel like that is the best way to explain it. I look at my life today. I look at all of the opportunities and all of the blessings and all of the things that I've had the honor and the privilege of getting to do. I look at the last 14 years, almost 2 decades of being in these places and spaces. And at the top of this year, I was ready to truthfully lay it all down. I was ready to once again tell the Lord, it's it. If you want all, like, take it. Take it. And it's amazing how God stepped into that season of my life and really started opening up the eyes of my heart to see. And what is so beautiful, in the midst of all of that, Fun Now just started to take more roots. Even though I was supposed to launch this a year ago, it's like the roots, the seed started to grow roots, and it started to grow. And I feel like today is the day that I'm starting to see a little sprout pop up out of the soil. That is what this feels like today. And I know this episode is kind of just this long-winded, oh my gosh, I'm back and hello and welcome, but I'm excited to spend every week with you here in this space. I want to spend it intentionally, but I also want this to be a space where we have to promise each other something if we're going to do this. We've got to lay some things at the door before we step into this sacred sisterhood space. And that is something that God has been working in me and doing in me personally this last year. It's like you want to go where you're going to grow. That's the desire of your heart, but you're not willing to let some things go in order to grow. That's a word. And I am living, breathing proof of walking in that and through that. And it has been a lot of, it has been like refinement in the fire at times. It has been a drought in the desert at times. What I do know is that God put me through it for a reason. And here we are today. And I want to give you the bold homework assignment of, I only ask one thing, right? Usually in my house, being Middle Eastern, it's like, can you please take your shoes off at the door before you come in? Imagine leaving something at the door so you can step into this experience of I'm fun now, a little lighter, more open to the possibilities of what God could do here in your life. What would you leave behind? What are you going to leave behind? Just place it at the door. I'm not asking you to throw it in the trash. In order for you to fully step into this experience of I'm fun now, not only are we going to be prayerful about it, and not only are we going to declare goodness and joy and the treasures that God is going to leave for us here in this playground space, but what are we, each and every single one of us, going to leave at the door before we step in? What is that thing? I really sat with this question myself in the last year of my life. And I looked at the things in my life that I put the highest price point on, the things that I value so much, like the things that I'm obsessed with, like obviously family is amazing. I love my family. But I'm talking about, what are the things in you that are weighing you down because we have given it so much authority over our day, over our lives, over our moods, over everything. Maybe it's fear. Like I'm not leaving a tangible thing. Like maybe you're like, I am going to leave fear. I'm going to leave fear at the door before I enter this world. Maybe it's something physical. Maybe you're like, gosh, I've been spending money like crazy, just like obsessed with just like consumerism has just really eaten me alive this year. Like it's weighing me down. It's not healthy for me. Like lay it down. Imagine those credit cards, just leave them at the door before you step into this place. Maybe for some of you, it is like an appearance thing. Maybe you've been really wrapped up in like the way that you look, the way that you present yourself, the way that you have to maybe like get to a certain place of looking and being before you can actually step into an experience in order to feel comfortable. Let's strip down. Hey, not literally, girls, put your clothes back on. It's not that kind of show. But you know what I mean? And for some of you, maybe you fit into this category like me. And this is where I'll be vulnerable with you and say, the thing that this year, at the top of this year, what I had to lay down, my Abraham moment, when he has to take Isaac to the altar, for me, that price, that thing, was all of this. It was my social media platforms I've had 14 years building, growing. It was my platforms, my businesses, my gifts, my talents, because ultimately that too is what is fueling all of this. Like, I'm not just obsessed with Instagram just because, like, I love pouring into those places. But I knew that I needed to, the thing that I really desired the most in my heart, I needed to actually release it and lay it down. And that is exactly what I did. And I even in that laid this down, this podcast. At the beginning of this year, I was like, okay, I was supposed to launch this thing 3 months ago. And I remember in January thinking like, but wait, what is the point of all of this? What does God want to do with my life in the next 10 years? What does he want to show me? What does he want me to step into? And it was this moment of like holy offering, right? Like if you could offer that up, if you could leave it at the door before you step into here, what would it be? For me, that was my all of this. And I went on a journey with the Lord in the last year of my life where it has been like wildfire. He has given me so much clarity, so much insight, so many visions into the spirit realm. And he has just honestly given me what I feel like is a spiritual authority going up against a dominion and a force that I now realize has no power. It has no power over my life. It has no power over women. And we are going to rise as the daughters of the Most High. And I'm going to get more into that on episode 3. Because girl, we got to really sit and talk about that. But the homework assignment for you guys, I call it pretend homework. Amari right now, my 4-year-old, has pretend homework. It's the cutest thing. That's where this idea came about. I was like, pretend homework? I love that. They're just getting her ready for kindergarten. And I don't even think you have homework in kindergarten, but first grade, really. They're getting her ready for that. And it's called pretend homework. And when I opened up her folder, I thought, ooh, I should have pretend homework for all of us. And so as we're stepping into this next chapter, this whole I'm Fun Now experience together, I need y'all to really come as you are, okay? I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're single or if you're married or if you're in a marriage right now and you're feeling single. I don't care if you are in the postpartum era and you're just trying to hold it together. I don't care if you're somebody who feels like you have to put on the face before you can walk into a space. Whoever you are, wherever you are, the bold assignment is, what are you leaving at the door so that you can walk into this society and this sisterhood community and be exactly who you are. We've got to get to that place. That is your homework, because next week's episode, I love that I get to say that again. Next week's episode, that's fun. Wow. I know we're going to go deeper, and I know we're going to have fun, and we're going to laugh, y'all. We've got segments, all that, but I really want you to have an anchor. This isn't just like, let's just babble, even though I do babble. But I care so deeply about each and every single one of you. God has given me visions about each and every single one of you. I have seen your faces when I'm in Matthew reading about the wildflowers in 6:28, when the Lord is speaking, and he is just, painting that beautiful, beautiful picture that consider the wildflowers, most of which are never even seen. Yet God tends to them. How much more is he going to do for you in this season? Let this be the holy declaration that you needed today. That, you probably came here and you thought, oh, it's going to be fun. It is fun. We're going to talk about fun. We're going to laugh, all that. But I bet you didn't feel that hit you in your soul. I bet you didn't know that was coming for you on the playground, because you are a wildflower. You are uniquely designed. Some of you who feel like you're the outliers of your groups. Some of you who think that it's over for me. Some of you who think that, man, I missed it, or I should have, or I could have. Oh, you, my sister, you are the one that God wants to reach so deep, 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 deep. And he wants you to know that you are not overlooked, that he sees you, and he has a promise for you that there is so much more to come. And I sit on that as a witness, because I walked through that very same coming to the end of myself moment, which I have done quite a few times now. I could become an expert at coming to the end of yourself moment, when you're finally on your hands and your knees and you're just like, oh, wow, this is where I needed to get to so that God could actually break through. I heard someone say amen out there. That is where I want us to get to. And you know what? It might take you to episode 3, 4, 5, 20 to get to that place. But I want this episode 1 to be the seed that we can begin to plant. And that seed to me, you guys are my wildflowers, unique in design. That seed that you're planting, whether it's today or 3 or 4 episodes from now, that is a seed that we are going to believe in, that we are going to water, we are going to tend to, and you are going to be delivered from the lies of the enemy, the things that he has tried to keep you down, disconnecting you, distracting you, fogging your brain. Oh, that's out of here. Like, we are going to battle against that spirit, and I've got you. I am so ready to lead the pack on that. And I have seen so much into the enemy's tactics that, oh, don't you worry, buckle up, girl. We got this. God has got us, and we've got this. And I want you to think about that seed. And so in order for us to step into this experience of I'm fun now, I think it is very important to say that the seed that you're planting today is a hopeful seed. It's a seed that maybe this dream or desire is going to come to fruition. Maybe my husband is out there. Maybe I will become a mother. Whatever that desire is, that pulsating desire that every morning when you wake up, you cannot stop thinking about it. It is a desire God has clearly put in your heart for a reason. And I believe good desires are the same desires that God puts in our heart for a reason, to reflect his desires. And so whatever that seed is, before we can plant that, girl, we've got to make space. We've got to pull something out of the root. We've got to start fresh. By the way, I'm speaking in gardening terms. Maybe that's an I'm fun now challenge I'm going to do at some point. Because, girl, I can't keep a plant alive for the life of me. I cannot. This plant behind me right now on the set, it's fake. It's artificial. And they serve a purpose. But what God has also shown me is that you're the real deal, baby. You are that needy plant, the plant that has to constantly be tended to and put in the perfect place for it to be happy and spoken to. I hear people talk to their plants. That's a thing, giving it a name. But you are a plant. And so it's like, God obviously wants you to bloom where you're planted, but something, I can feel it. Something has been getting you guys down. Something has been wrapping you up and tangling you up into a triple knot. And whatever that thing is, we as sisters are going to stand arms linked, and we are going to leave it at the door. And so in order, I believe, for us to grow that seed, the beautiful seed, the promise that there is more to come, that I'm declaring will grow. God is going to shower that and bless that when we leave that very thing that we so badly put a price tag on, that we treasure so much, leave it at the door. And that's when I believe God takes us by the hand and he walks us into the growing season of where it is that we need to go. And I have walked through it. And for me, this I'm fun now playground of a world is an invitation. And I'm so happy that you're here because you've clearly accepted the invitation to be here. So next week, we're going to talk about that a little bit more. Just encouraging you all. I'm going to keep encouraging you all to prune back, lay that thing down, and prepare yourself for the wild, exciting adventure that is I'm fun now. And I want to read a verse that really blessed me leading up to this episode. Jesus says to his disciples, who are ultimately going to go out into the world and spread his good news, he tells them, this is 2,000 years ago, okay? He says to his disciples, the harvest is huge, but there are not enough harvesters to bring it in. As you go, plead with the owner, capital O, aka God. As you go, plead with the owner of the harvest to send out many more workers into his harvest fields. Now off you go. I'm sending you out, even though you feel as vulnerable as lambs going into a pack of wolves, you won't need to take anything with you. Anything. You won't need to take anything with you. Trust in God alone. And don't get distracted from my purpose by anyone or anything you might meet along the way. Once you enter the house, speak to the people there and say, God's blessing of peace be upon this house. If that ain't a word, man, that feels like the water over this world, this house, this playground. And I believe that so much. Because the show is called I'm Fun Now, I obviously have to really end this on a fun note. Something that I decided to recycle from the Good Life podcast that many of you knew, loved, and still listen to. I will say this. I'm going to bring back to life one of my favorite things that we did on that show. And we ended every single episode of that show, whether we had a guest on it or it was just Stevie and I. We always asked, what's good in your life right now? It can be anything. And so here we are. And I want to say now, what's one fun thing you're discovering in your life right now? It can be anything. How fun is that? And I'm going to start. I will be the first one, especially when I do these solo casts. I guess I have to be the only one to do it. What's something fun in your life right now? Okay, here we go. So I'm going to say being in a new city, Nashville, Tennessee, being here in Franklin, it's a whole new world. And I love it. It is so much fun. Don't be fooled that small towns are like, womp womp. I did the big city life, in LA, and I did the hometown life in Texas. But man, something about Franklin, Tennessee, it is fun. It's fun. The cute little quaint antique shops, the coffee shops, just all of that is so fun now. I'm like, yes. Another thing that's really fun in my life right now is knowing that I'm going to be 36 years old tomorrow. Tomorrow is my birthday, October 2nd. And wow, last year this time, I was literally like packing up boxes. We were uprooting our whole life and moving to Tennessee. So it's just such a cool, fun, full circle moment to see that here I am in a whole new adventure, in a whole new town, rediscovering, those parts of myself that I feel like at times I lost or I turned the lights out on, that spark. It is like, it's back. It is back. And you know what? There's a lie out there that says the older that you get, it's like, oh, we're all on pins and needles, afraid to get older. Oh my goodness, 36 is probably the year I finally truly stepped into just the joy of being exactly who I am as I am. And it's true what they say in your 30s. You really reach a certain point where you just don't care what people think. You really step into this place of like, either I'm going to be myself, and if that means being more bold because that's just who I am and that's how I treat my sister friends, I'm just going to tell you straight up, that is who I am. And I have seen that this year come out in me, just like this little firecracker. And that's been fun. It's been fun to see that in my 35th year. So cheers to 36 tomorrow, y'all. And then the last thing I think that's been fun in my life right now is every week we have family nights. And I decided to assign our family nights on Fridays. Friday's our fun Friday. And I want to continue that tradition in my home. I love that idea of like having fun with my family on Fridays. And it's not these larger than life things, by the way. It's just a designated pit stop day in the week where it's about the togetherness, being with each other. Sometimes that's takeout in a movie. Sometimes that's going to the park and just having a picnic. Sometimes that's all of us just like going out and getting ice cream. Like Family Night Fridays has become a tradition in our house, and it's so fun. And this last week, what I did was I made shifta, my mom's famous shifta recipe. I've been bringing more of my Kurdish heritage into the house. I've been making more of a conscious effort this year, that one of my fun now challenges is like, I am going to learn the recipes of my heritage. I'm going to keep that alive. It is so vital because once my grandmother and my mother leave, who's going to continue to cook these recipes, these delicious meals? Stories are in these pots of dolma. I mean, I'm telling you. So I made shifta and it was just amazing because some of my friends, I had leftovers. I saw how their faces lit up when they tried my mom's shifta that I made. And I've gotten pretty good at it. And there are these little beef chips that you make. They're just packed with herbs. It is just so delicious. But when I saw my friends, like my best friends, take a bite, I was like, wow, that did something for me on a soul level that I wasn't expecting. I was really proud of that. And it was just so fun to see that. Speaking of friends, I've got lots of guests lined up for the I'm Fun Now world. We've got to bring some people into this playground, right? So stick around. We're going to be having so many honest conversations. We are going to get real. We're going to have fun. We are going to have guests and people on that I believe are going to help us taste that joy of what it is to just bloom where you're planted. Enjoy the now. And there's so much joy to be had right now, today, in this moment in your life. And so, get ready, y'all. This is just episode 1. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I love you all so much. I am sending you peace and love and light and joy into your day ahead. All right, guys, I haven't figured out a sign off yet. This is only episode 1, but maybe it'll come to us naturally. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next week. Bye.